Hey, before I start this video, I just want to verbalize how uncomfortable I am feeling. Hi, I have not filmed a video. Let me check how long it's been. 6 months. I've not filmed a video in 6 months. And in that last video, I said that I was moving to Ethiopia to join the team there, the YWAM team. Oh, how the turntables.
Well, well, well. How the turntables.
I don't know if you, wow. I don't know if you can't tell, but I'm not in Africa right now. So I thought I'd give you an update. I'm gonna start back to like that video because I filmed that in Perth in a hostel. So I'd just come back from my overseas travel. So I just come back from 3 months of overseas travel and I was doing an update. So that was where I left off, Perth. And I think in that I said I was going back to Perth to do another YWAM training course. So I went home for 2 weeks after that video. My parents came up to Perth and we had a little holiday. I mean, it's my home now, but we had a little holiday in Perth together. And then I went here, back home, for 2 weeks and had a little in-between break, little holiday, and then I spent a couple days in Melbourne, and then I flew back to Perth and I attended the School of Frontier Missions, which is a school that trains you in being on the front line of missions, of being like out in the country of your choice or the country that God has shown you and doing work. So it teaches you, it gets you to do language lessons. You have to do all these massive assignments on the place you're going to. Mine was Ethiopia, obviously. And it was an amazing course and I loved it. I made so many beautiful friends. It was very different to my DTS, but I did love it. So it's a 6-month course technically to get a certificate for in Frontier Missions by the Australian government. But you do 3 months in Perth and then you do your own outreach. So you plan your own outreach. Mine was obviously going to Ethiopia. I was going to do my outreach with Tingo, who is my new friend who I love like a sister. We were going together, so we were doing all of our assignments together and all of that. So we were planning our outreach together. You plan 3 months of it, but Tingo and I were going to go for 2 years as a minimum. That's what is required as a long-term missionary in YWAM. So that was what we were aiming to do, but the first 3 months are assessed. So that's kind of where we were at. We'd graduated the first half, and we were going to go to Ethiopia. We were planning on February, March. So I went home for New Year's. The course finished on the 28th, randomly, I know. Came home, spent like a few weeks at home. It was the longest time I'd spent at home since I moved out last April, and it was so much fun. I'll also put some photos in because it was like such a fun time. I returned to Perth in the first week of February to join staff at YWAM Perth until we were given the okay to go to Ethiopia. So I spent 2 months in Perth volunteering at their preschool, learning young children's education, Christian education with the educators there, and it was really quite amazing. I loved it. Staff was completely different to being a student at YWAM. At least at YWAM Perth. A DTS and even the SOFM was like, you have to do certain things and it's to a schedule, you have rules and all of that. It was so relaxed being on staff. I loved it. I would go to work, like go to preschool as one of the teachers, volunteer teachers on the weekdays, and I did fundraising and things like that, and I helped out on the base, and it was just such a fulfilling, lovely time, and it was such nice weather in Perth as well. So I was going to the beach every weekend. It was amazing. I met some beautiful people who are actually in this picture frame here. Yes, I met some beautiful people who, a couple of them, one in particular just became like one of the closest people to me ever and is going to remain one of my best friends. And I am just so grateful for that time that I spent in Perth. And yeah, it pains me that I'm not there. March 15th, we were scheduled to fly out. Tingo and I were scheduled to fly out and meet the team in Ethiopia and settle in Addis Ababa. I was so pumped. I was packing like 2 weeks before we were due to fly out. God just provided all the finance. He provided everything that I needed for the flights, for emergency money. I was set, have supporters, monthly supporters. God was just so faithful. And then we went on a staff retreat, so it was for a week. It was so much fun, just a really nice time to bond with the staff at Perth, and it was just a beautiful time spent at the beach every day before we knew we were going to head out to landlocked country. But kind of, I think it was like a couple, I don't even know how long before, but COVID had started when I went back to Perth, like after my New Year holiday. COVID had started, but it wasn't like on anyone's radar, it wasn't a thing. And I remember when I was in Perth, the first cases started coming through in Australia, and then the first cases in Tasmania, and then the first cases in Perth. And I was like, oh, this is getting a little bit more than I thought it was going to be, but whatever, like it hasn't hit Africa yet, we're good. It was almost like every day the government and then YWAM would set more boundaries, set more restrictions, set more rules in regards to COVID-19. And I think at first Tinker and I were like, whatever, like we're kind of separate, like we're going and it's our choice to go, like we're still going, whatever. And then March 15th, we were scheduled to fly out. I had my stuff packed at the door, my pink suitcases, my passport, ready to go. I get a call from our leaders, our head leaders from Perth, and we're told that we were strongly advised to cancel our flights. And the government had said the same the day before. And I just was shocked. It was about like probably 3 hours before our flight, 3 or 4 hours before our flight. And I was devastated. I can't even describe how devastated I was. My friend Charlie came and like was gonna take me to church, to Hillsong. And I came out looking like an actual bum, like a little bogan bum. And my hair was in this like bun. I'd been like laying and crying, like it was just like flopped, had no makeup on, and I looked like I just looked crap. And he was like, oof, let me assist you with your life. Being at church was like the best thing I could have done. I found out an hour before we were going to leave for church that my flight had been cancelled, and I was like, I could stay home and cry, or I could go to church, see the boys, and like get food and feel somewhat normal. What's my option? What's my choice? And I chose church, which I'm really glad for. So thank you boys for your love that night. It was very hard. 5 days later, the Tasmanian Premier requested all Tasmanians come home because he was going to be closing the borders of Tasmania. And I was like, what?
What the f is in Tasmania? I have no idea, but we're about to find out.
Tassie, if you don't know, is an island state in Australia. The only island state in Australia. And if this closed, I would have no access to get home. And if I did come home, I would be on strict isolation, like to this bedroom for 2 weeks. And I was like, I'm not really keen to do that. So Mum and Dad and I talked about it the day of, and we were like, I've got to come home. Like, YWAM couldn't operate the same way because only 10 people could gather at that point, and there was literally no logical reason why I would stay in Perth when we didn't know what was happening. We didn't know how long I'd be locked out of Tassie and all of that fun stuff. Even thinking about it makes me so sad. So obviously I came home, got a flight really quickly. Home in Tasmania, back in my house. This is actually the guest room, which I had the pleasure of redecorating when I got home. And it is nice to have my own room. I haven't had my own room for a year. It's definitely been a trying time for me, as I know it has been for so many people, but for me, I had trusted in a plan that I felt was going ahead. I was excited to go on a road that I know God is still calling me on, and it's almost like it was just suddenly ripped away. Like it was suddenly like, no, you're actually going home to do nothing productive. That's how it feels, and I'm trying to find a sense of peace in this time and in this season, but it's just, it's hard. It's hard. I'm trying to find peace in the stillness and in rest, and that's what God has requested of me being home. But yeah, it's not where I feel that I'm almost like, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here. Like I feel like I'm supposed to be in Africa, so it's kind of like, what am I doing? Like, what can I do where I'm going to still be helping people and like, and doing something good with my life, but being at home where like we can't really do anything. Like it's just hard. So things that I am doing thought I would share them. I'm homeschooling my brother, so all the schools are shut. He is 12, he's in year 6, and he is a smart boy and I don't really have to do much. But I sit with him, I do my own things like research and reading and quiet times and stuff while he's doing his work. And I help him if he has questions. It's actually really fun. I'm learning guitar, like for real. I've been doing it since I got home because it's something I've always wanted to do, and I've actually started sounding okay. I'm learning a language, I'm learning Spanish. I've been doing it on Duolingo, which is like a language app. And I'm on a 23 days, this is my 24th day of doing it. I'm like, stop it. This is the app. Duolingo. And I've been applying for universities and researching universities to start a Bachelor of Nursing, but some of the unis that I really want to go to are cancelling their mid-year intakes and only starting next year, which kind of makes me concerned because if I'm left here all year, then I feel like if I'm studying a degree, then maybe that could be beneficial. But anyway, I'm kind of like, ooh, interesting, let's see how that goes. But I am looking into doing a Bachelor of Nursing to then get a Bachelor of Midwifery, which I'm so excited to do. I've wanted to be a midwife for like forever. And then I can hopefully defer that when I go away or whatever. But I just feel like at least studying would be a really beneficial way of spending this time. So that's what I'm doing. But none of this makes sense. I know everyone's feeling the effects of COVID-19 at some point and in some way, and I understand that it's affecting everyone's plans and everyone's lives right now, even in a small way. But it is affecting all of us, and you know, for me, I felt God's promise of Ethiopia so clearly, and it's been this process of trusting that he still speaks and he still has a plan, and he knew this was coming, and he knew that this was going to be 2020 when none of us had any idea. I know God has a calling on my heart for missions and for Africa, and I definitely think I will still go. It's just a matter of when. So if you're a praying human being, I would love you to pray for me. But that is my update. I know, crazy. I'm so sorry that I haven't told you yet. Also, I kind of want to do like a few videos here and there, little surprises for your time bored in the house bored. So if you have any requests, you can message me on Instagram, especially Naomi, because I know you would have good ideas. So Instagram, I'll put it here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being people I can rely on, who always have my back and watch my videos. Very sweet, thank you. And I hope you are all coping with this crazy time of life, and that you are finding joy in the moments, the little moments. But yes, I love you all. Bye.